The Special Advisor to President Bola Tinubu on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, has warned those behind the planned nationwide protests to be very careful because they may not predict what could be the end of such action. Recall that Mr. Onanuga had accused supporters of the Labour Party presidential candidate in 2023, Mr. Peter Obi, of being behind the planned protests. Although he acknowledged the fact that it is the right of people to protest in a democracy, those behind it should be careful so that it will not be hijacked by people who would use the opportunity to cause problems. Explaining more on the post of his X handle, when he accused Peter Obi's supporters of the planned protest, he told newsmen on the phone, in his words, and I quote, "My post is just to highlight that the people who are organizing this so-called nationwide protest are members of the Labour Party. They are Peter Obi supporters. So that's my own take. It's my own opinion, and so I'm not going to say more than this." Dr. John, from your explanation earlier, it looks like you're strongly in support of this. Are you also one of Peter Obi's supporters?
Which Nigerian will see this kind of economy?
Supporters?
Look at the now. Let's start with this. Minimum wage, $52. Have you converted from the exchange rate and so on? $70,000 is not up to $55. And that $55, somebody who does, a good computer job like data analysis in America earns it in less than two hours. And that is what constitutes our minimum wage. Does it really make sense?
That's the minimum wage, Dr. John.
I'm talking of the minimum wage now. I'm not referring to listen.
No, hold on. We need to understand that is the least.
What did I mention? I said minimum wage.
It seems like some people are beginning to misunderstand the meaning of minimum wage.
Don't educate me on that. I am an arbitrator. Listen.
Hold on.
I mentioned 70,000 minimum wage, which is less than $55.
I understand what you're saying.
I did not say maximum wage.
Hold on. You need to understand that it is not just the two of us we might be the ones talking now,
yes,
but we're not the only people in this conversation right
yes
now. Yes, we have the viewer out there. So when I'm saying some things, I might not be educating you. I might just be educating the viewer, so don't take it personal. Yes.
Okay, what I am saying is that our minimum wage, I did not say the maximum wage. That is what you wanted to correct. Our minimum wage, that is the lowest worker, and 70,000, which is less than $55.
Okay.
And now come to think of it, look at the price of rice. It means that the minimum wage of the average worker, of the lowest worker, cannot buy him a bag of what? Rice. Now, the economy is biting hard. The exchange rate is, the foreign exchange has run amok. Unemployment is piling up. Companies are leaving Nigeria. Manufacturing companies are exiting Nigeria, and you expect the Nigerian mass, that Onanuga man. See, Bola Tinubu is a president who is a pro-democracy activist. When you bring on board some cranky elements into your government who make unguided utterances, such people should be kicked out.
What is unguided about?
Unguided? How can you say I've witnessed so many protests from the time of Babangida. Anti-SAP protests, we saw it. Several protests have been going on. Even before the 2023 election, protests have been going on. Labour will go on protests. ASU will go on protests. Medical workers will go on protests. And all these protests caused by Peter Obi, let's be civil at times. Or because you know that Peter Obi is a figure, is a Labour Party, did they tell him that it's Labour Party that is organizing the protests? So that is an unguarded utterance. Such utterances are insensitive to the plight of the people. You are in government today, tomorrow you will leave. And you have brothers and sisters who are equally poor, living in the villages, and you could come up with such an utterance. That if we protest in the first place is a fundamental right. Number one, it is our right. It is the right of people to protest.
Which he also pointed
out. Number two, it is unfounded and unfortunate that such a person could associate a cool-headed, quiet administrator, a technocrat like Peter Obi, with such a protest. And come to think of it, you are mentioning the Labour Party. The Labour Party is beyond Peter Obi, for God's sake. The Labour Party is a party that has spread all over the country. In fact, there are so many people abroad who are also members of the Labour Party. Such a protest, the planned protest, cannot be orchestrated by one man. It is orchestrated by Tinubu's hardship. It's orchestrated by unemployment. It's orchestrated by cost of living crisis. It's orchestrated by the poor wages they pay Nigerians. It's orchestrated by the hardship students are facing. It's opposition how? Are the students part of the party? Am I part of the party? We are all feeling the heat. People are angry and hungry. And you are talking about Peter Obi is organizing what party? The public should wish it away. Okay. That is an idle talk nobody will take.
All right.
The cause of the protest is simple. There is cost of living crisis. Nigeria's economy is sinking. We don't know what to do again. The next thing we'll do is to protest as a way of registering our frustration in Nigeria. Such a protest can happen in South Africa, it can happen in Kenya. Yes, it can also happen in Nigeria.
If it's happening.
They should leave until South protest and South protest alone.
That is one part of his statement,
yes,
where he accused the Labour Party of being the reason or being in charge of this protest, the mastermind of this protest. Now let's look at the other part where he talked about the fact that this, if not well handled, right, we might not know where it might end or how it might end. And he made reference to the NSAS protest. And that is not the only protest we have had that was hijacked in Nigeria. If you go back to the time of the NSAS protest, a lot of the elderly people were telling their children not to participate in the protest because of the fears they have had due to previous experiences that they might have had from protests in Nigeria. So they were warning their children not to be a part of it. It was all around social media. People were posting conversations with their parents as videos and as pictures. So let's look at that, all of these scenarios that we have had. You made mention of some of these protests and this particular protest. What is the guarantee that this protest at the end of the day will not be hijacked as other protests have been in the past?
It is government that will guarantee, listen, it is government that will guarantee whether a protest will be peaceful or not. Government has a coercive machinery of power. When people are protesting, it is the responsibility of the police to guide the protesters, to avoid people from infiltrating. So maybe the statement Bayo Onanuga is making, he does not know that he's indicting himself. More or less, he is saying that government will not be able to guarantee a peaceful world. When people are protesting, even in America, in Britain, in Canada, workers are protesting, you always see the police by their side. You always see the police with their, not armed. You always see them, guiding them. This, when they get a particular fountain, where they want to make a statement, they make their statement to the press and they leave.
Well, that's not always the case in Nigeria.
It has been like that.
Let's come back to Nigeria.
No, you don't know. Listen, when Gani Fawemi...
Please hold on. You can make your statements. But
yes,
don't make statements like you don't know or you are not aware. Just make your point and make it plain.
What I mean is that when Gani Fawemi was organizing protests in Lagos, there's a particular fountain. People will protest and get there, make statements and go. When I say you don't know, maybe you are not old enough. You are not old enough to understand.
Hold on. Have we also, that's why I said don't go there, because you're beginning to raise an argument beyond our conversation.
No,
let's stay on the conversation. Now, let's look at, have you also seen cases of protests, right, in Nigeria, where people came out to protest and you saw police go there and...
It is not only in Nigeria, it happens everywhere.
Get the point. Get my question.
You invited me to talk. You give me more time to talk. Ask the question, I will address it.
I invited you to ask you questions, which is what I am doing now.
Yes.
Back to my question. Haven't we seen cases where people are protesting and the police opens tear gas on them?
What I'm saying is that thing happens everywhere. In France, it happens. In America, it happens. In Canada, it happens. In Britain, it happens. Such a thing is not out of place. It is the responsibility of the police to, if they discover that the protest is going out of hand, they now swing into what? Action. It is not the protesters that will guarantee that. What I'm saying is simple. It is, if I'm protesting, I am not the one to guarantee whether my protest will be peaceful or not. Government owns the army. Government owns the police. You have the civil defense is there. You have road safety is there. They have all the apparatus of government.
But we had all these people when we had the NSAS protests go sour.
NSAS protests went that way because of the interests of some people. It was not the protesters that caused that problem.
So what is the guarantee now that we will not have some people with such interests?
When you talk of guarantee, I have told you that it is the government that will guarantee whether the NSAS protest, for instance, was not peaceful because government wanted to crush those youths.
That's a very strong allegation
yes.
there.
You know that we went to court. Are you aware of the case in court?
But back to Onanuga's statement now. Back to Onanuga's statement where he said we might not know how this will end. You know that when we talk about okay, the government should play their role, the people should play their role. You make it peaceful as a people. You as the government provide the parastatals to make sure that it is not hijacked and all of that. At the end of the day, if this protest is hijacked, lives will be lost. People will be thrown into a state. I don't know how to explain the pain of losing a loved one at the end of the day. So let's keep his statements now. Let's look at this. I was having this conversation with a guest last week where I was asking him these questions. With the way protests have been in Nigeria, a lot of the protests, especially the huge protests, NSAS protests, which this one is also looking like it's going to be a very big protest also. Do we have other options that we can hold on to at the moment to prevent things like all those occurrences from happening again? Now,
I don't know if you knew about the Jonathan must go protest. Did you know about it? It was in the west. Lagos was the center. It was a massive protest. No life was lost. It was peaceful. The west, all the pro-democracy activists, all the civil society groups gathered, and it was not a protest of one day. It was not a protest of sometimes 7 days. No havoc was caused because government was alive to our responsibilities. Except government says we want to disrupt this protest. The protest can always be peaceful.
Because there was no statement
when like Gani, listen now, you have talked to when Gani Fawemi was alive. I don't know, tons of protests were organized in Lagos. All peaceful. All peaceful. When Adams Oshomole was NLC chairman, several protests were organized from 2003, 2004, 2005. Several. Everything went peaceful.
Okay.
Yes. It is when I cannot, tell you the number of protests. Protests have been made time and again. The only thing is, when government begins to see the people as their enemy, and when there is a peaceful protest, they will now go and shoot gun, throw tear gas, and cause problem. So, the responsibility of making the protest civil and peaceful is in the hands of the government.
Are there other options that we could look at the moment?
Protest has no option. Protest is protest. Peaceful protest. That's what we are talking about.
That's the only option that Nigerians have to
yes, for now. In order to register, listen, in order to register the frustration of the people, the protest is not destruction of property. If people want to disrupt, don't you know the property of public office holders?
That is the aim. That is the aim.
It is not.
That is the aim.
It is not the aim.
The aim is for it to be peaceful. Get my point.
I know.
The aim is for it to be peaceful, but does it always end up peaceful?
I have cited several cases of.
Recently, have we had any major?
I've cited several cases of peaceful protests.
Have we had any major
in Nigeria
recently that was peaceful? That
yes.
ended peaceful.
Yes. Even Jusun workers.
I'm talking about a protest of the whole. This protest,
the protest, is going when they say mass protest, it's not as if everybody is partaking. No,
a lot of people,
don't think that everybody in Nigeria is partaking.
Like you have said, everybody is feeling the heat, right?
So those who know, they at least if you are grown up enough to know why you have to protest. Listen now, there are some children they don't know the meaning of protest. True. I know the meaning of protest. Okay. I have seen so many protests. I have taken part in so many protests. The essence of protest is the constitution says peaceful word protest. No constitution will guarantee violent word protest. So in accordance with the constitution, the masses will engage in peaceful protest. In doing that peaceful protest, it is the responsibility of government to ensure that they guide the protest. Let me use that word, guide. If they fail to, for instance, if people are protesting, it is the responsibility of government to say, bring in policemen to guide, you know, not policemen that will be aggressive. So if you are protesting, no destroy property, you know, Nigeria, we are this is our country, and they protest and make their statement before the international press. That is the way it is done. It has happened time and again.
You see that happening?
You are citing end-SARS protest. End-SARS protest is not the first protest.
Do you see that happening with this?
You cannot ask me such a question.
From your own analysis now, looking at these protests now, and the statement of Bayo Onanuga, and then some other Nigerians at the moment, you see that everybody playing their role to make sure that the protest is peaceful.
The most annoying part is bringing in Peter Obi. Peter Obi is not a violent person from the beginning. Peter Obi is not mobilizing anybody. Peter Obi is only the leader of a party. And this protest is not Labour Party protest. It's Nigerians that are protesting. Students will be there. Market women will be there. Who does not know that the price of Gari has gone up? Was it not Wole Soyinka and others that led the protest against Jonathan? Was there any violence? Was it not Gani Fahimi and others that led several protests to remove Abacha's government until he was locked up in several prisons and so on? So protest is not new. It is, I've said it, government will make it peaceful.
Government will make, that means you're making a statement for the government. Government
will make it because it is their responsibility. That's what I'm saying. That the Constitution says when people go out to protest, allow them to protest. Government will now mobilize the civil forces to ensure that the protest goes on peacefully. So if there is any violent protest, whole government responsible. That's the statement.
Let's get to see how this will play out. A lot of oppositions here.
I will also join.
Concerning this protest. A lot of oppositions and statements that are being made concerning this protest, and a lot of people are also in support of this protest.
Yes.
While the argument continues, let's see where this would actually take. Wait, let me ask you one question before we move on to the next story now, still concerning the protest. The results, because this protest is for a reason, right? And looking at the state of Nigeria's economy now and everything, where we are at the moment generally now, after this protest, are we really seeing a change after this protest now? We're trying to foresee what would happen after the protest. Do you see this? Do you see any positive change coming with this protest?
Number one, you see, the essence of every peaceful protest is for the people to vent their anger, their dissatisfaction with the system. A system that has marginalized them, a system that has impoverished them, and so on. The end is to address, the leaders of the protest will address, either you address a press conference or you address the international media. Now, when such addresses are given, warning will be given to, warning will go to IMF, it will go to the World Bank, it will go to China, where our leaders have been borrowing money to put in their pockets. By the time that is done, it will be a clear indication that these people are coming to take this loan not in the interest of Nigerians, but in their personal interest. It is after the protest, and we discover that there's no result. When the Nigerians discover that there's no result, other actions will follow. That is usually the coloration of every protest.
When you say other
actions will follow. For instance, people coming together to write letters to all these international money lending agencies. Actions concerning, you know, when they are presenting the budget in September, they will present another budget. People can go there and disrupt the presentation of the budget. Yes, it has happened in Nigeria. Even at the state level, it has happened. You see, governance is about the people. Now, when you are carrying on as if the people do not exist, then you don't need any good governance in the state. Governance, the money they are spending to buy airplane is our money. and it is our money. We are here talking, and so many people have no guarantee to it. Is that government? Is that the meaning of governance? And this is the frustration we want to express peacefully. And somebody there is saying Peter Obi is okay. Has Peter Obi organized a protest before in this country? Does it have a precedent that Peter Obi rose up and organized people to protest? It's unfounded. We should dismiss such allegations.
Okay.